Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today we're going to talk about all the survival uses of a laser pointer. But before we do that, if you're interested in detective stories, my first book is out called Bloody Crosses is a Detective. It's in Dutch, and if you're interested, there will be a link in the description. So, lasers. Yeah, lasers, they are kind of cool. And by the way, don't mind Mr. Itward in the background. He's just for shits and giggles around here, and actually for a training purpose. So, laser pointers. It's actually something that I underestimated, but it has some very good survival uses that, like me, many people underestimated. So, what are the survival uses? First of all, it's a good defense tool. What do I mean by that? If you are meeting a burglar, like let's say Mr. Itward is coming to your house, and yeah, you have a laser pointer. You can have an advantage over him by pointing it in his eyes. It's often very underestimated how dangerous a laser could be to the human eyes. So there are these. When was it? 2 years ago, I think there was in Belgium a case where somebody was prosecuted because he blinded pilots of a plane because he was pointing his laser pointer in the sky, and it blinded, temporarily blinded a pilot that was flying very high. So yeah, that's the kind of power that a laser pointer could have. So it's serious enough that somebody is being prosecuted by the government for this kind of thing. And to be honest, as a child, we played around with some lasers, and I did not had a good time when we were playing with the cat, and my brother pointed the laser in my eyes by accident. And yeah, it's a very temporarily blinded effect that's like a whole white spot in front of your eyes that you cannot see for at least a couple of minutes. And by the warnings on the laser pointers, it could even create permanent damage to the eyes. So if you, let's say Mr. Edwards comes into your house, or you meet him somewhere else, and that is less effective on the day, but nonetheless it could be, especially in a building, or when it's later on the day. If you point it at someone in his eyes, it's very easy. Like you can see, I can point it almost at it without having to, how do you say this, aim with my aim like this. I mean, so I can just put it out of hand. I can take an object, blind him, and start to attack him with an improvised weapon or something else. So yeah, against burglars, you can blind them temporarily, so you can get the overhand in a close combat fight. So yeah, the same thing goes for against animals. If you are hiking, or you're just walking at night, and there is an aggressive dog or perhaps even a bear, then yeah, you could blind them by just pointing in their eyes, and hopefully that will scare the animal off, or at least temporarily blind them a little bit, so you can get away. Like I said before, I've got some lasers in my eyes when I was young, and it is not really a good thing. Oh, I would not say to try it, but it's very underestimated. So yeah, against at later of the day, against dogs, bears, could be a possible defense if you got nothing else. And it's very lightweight, small, cheap. This was like only 14 euros, and it's one of a very good laser. It's And if you can see, we will talk about later how far it can reach. Yeah, so another thing that you can do is, in case of shit hit the fan, when there is a when you fear that people will attack your property, and with drones, for example, if they are on a how do you say this, reconnaissance mission to see what shit you got. If you got a drone and you can point your laser right, how to say this, right at the camera lens of the drone for long enough, because what will last longer, a drone that is using full rotary blades, or a laser pointer that you can put a new battery in it? So that way you can, especially if you got multiple of these, you can blind a drone very good. It's the same thing, like I said, with the plane. It's going to reach very far, so even when a drone is very far away, you can you can try to hit lens. If you got multiple of these, you can surely blind a laser, blind a drone with a couple of lasers till they are out of battery time. So that's a way to defend yourself. I don't know why they don't use this in the Ukraine war, uh, especially yeah, because the drones are carrying grenades. So if you can blind them, they can not accurate dropping grenades on you. So I would say send some lasers to Ukraine and test it out. Another thing is, if you fear that somebody has night vision, um, wait, I will get it. The thing is about night vision is the way that night vision works is with I don't know the English name, but it's a restlichtversterker, and it's a very sensitive lens that will take on the infrared. But if you point a laser right at the lens, because if you buy a night vision, it says it can be damaged when it gets into very bright light or too long in daylight. So that's why when you start a night vision, you will hear a clicking system. So that's when the lens is opening. So in case if you do it on during the day, that it will get not too much light into this infrared lens. So if you point a laser right into it, I bet you can destroy a night vision, let alone blinding the person. So if you got a night vision and you point at somebody who else has a night vision, so if you got a night vision, you can see other people using night vision with infrared lamps. So if you point your laser right into that, you can blind them, or perhaps even um, make it malfunction when of the enemy. So yeah, that's another way you can do it. Another tactic that I would try that you can do is if you are defending a property with multiple persons with firearms, for example, and you only have one night vision goggle for some reason, and you know that that there are perhaps raiders, marauders, or criminals on the property, and they are trying to attack you. So what do? What I would do is the person with the night vision would go into cover so that you almost see nothing. You only have to have like this and this space for the laser. That will make you a hard target to hit. So if you point a laser in the night at the targets that you as night vision can see, but your mates with the guns can't, you can point at them, and they can try to shoot where you aim with the laser. And the people who are trying to shoot you, the person who is aiming the laser is in the cover, so it's very hard to hit them. And you don't like you saw, you don't need much room. You only visual and your hands and one point of your hand. So that's a little bit hard to hit, but your mates can see. Oh, the laser is pointing there. That's where the target is. That is what I need to hit. So that's perhaps a tactic you can use. Another thing is, for now we're speaking of firearms. In close quarter combat, a laser could be handy for very close combat. So if you got most civilians will have long rifles like this. So in a CQB, it's very hard to aim the thing because it's very long, and because of corners, if you want to go around corners, it's a little bit more exposed if you want to do this. So you have to react very quickly if you want to take somebody out. So what you can do is you can point a laser, put a laser on top of your rifle. So some rifles will have a holder where you can put a flashlight, you can put a laser on top of it. But to be honest, you don't really need to even attach it with tape. So what you can do is you just like you hold the rifle, you can keep the laser in your hand on a specific spot. So if it's very close quarter combat, you can just try to, like you can see, I just have to aim the rifle, not watching down the sight, because that would take too much time before the other person can react. So Mr. Edward is the burglar, you can see. and that way you can approximately know what you're going to hit. So attaching a laser is a very tactical thing to do, especially if you're going in a building and your weaponry is not tactical. I know a lot of Americans will say, "Why don't you put this kind of laser with a tactical finger button on top of your submachine gun for or close quarter combat in a building?" But yeah, that is Belgium. We don't have that much. Not many people have this kind of tactical weaponry. It's usually some sporting or hunting rifles or shotguns with two barrels. So it will be something like this that is not tactical suited, that is longer usually. So yeah, that is what we in Belgium have probably will have to do with. So it's more like for improvising. So I know there are better stuff out there, but like I said, it's improvising. It's about doing with the means that you already have during a bad situation. All right. The next thing that we are going to do is lighting the room. It's very often underestimated how much how do you say this? How much light a laser can produce. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to light windows. Take off. I don't know if you're going to see this because the light is very small, but that could be an advantage. I'm going to start. So if you perhaps can see, as you can see, this produces some light. Uh, I now hold my hands because uh, it's for to reflect more light, so that there is more of a reflection. I don't know if you can see this well with the camera lens, but it's enough light to read a map in the dark. And as you can see, it's dark enough that people from far away will not notice you. So you can, in the dark during the hiking, you don't have to pull out a flashlight and expose yourself for everyone in the environment. So something with green light like this, you can read a map, and navigate, but yet be little bit more stealthy. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do. I don't know if you can see this, but wait, I'm pointing now the laser at the roof, and I can now see everything in the room. I can see the windows. I can see Mr. Itward, but probably you cannot see Mr. Itward because it's too dark for a camera lens. But with the human eye, I can see every door in the room. I can see my furnace. I can see everything that is laying on this table. I can see. I can even count the ribs of Mr. Itward. So yeah, it is something that I will put the light back on. Give me a second. So that is something that special forces do when they are entering a room. Instead of aiming the flashlight directly at a possible threat or what they're looking, the problem is they can directly see where the light is coming from. So what they do is they aim the light to the roof, and because it's reflecting to the roof, the light reflects down, and you can see with a little light everything in the room, like I did here. But you probably will not have seen it by the camera. But I would say try it out with a laser or flashlight in a dark room. Aim it at the ceiling, and you will see how much light it will reflect to create a bit to see more with even a small thing like with a small beam like a laser. So that's something you can do. Talking about seeing, it can also be used as a SOS signal. Like I said before, you can how do you say this? You can point it at a plane, and even a plane will notice it because they are being blinded. But if you are looking for help and you want to signal a plane, many people would say, why don't you use reflection of a mirror or a flashlight? Well, a mirror in because will only be a good SOS signal in the dark or late at night. It's because if you're going to use a flashlight, a pilot could just think, oh, it's just somebody who is having a light. no big deal. But if you point a laser right at the plane, they will know, oh, somebody's pointing a laser at us. Maybe they are trying to say something, or let's investigate who the culprit is. And that way you can be, the rescue teams could go to the place where you are at and save you. So that's another thing you can do. Uh, I've tried to make a video about pointing it at the night sky in the clouds, but it's too dark to record. So I would say try it out yourself. If you're pointing it at the sky, it's very visible. You can see the beam. You can see it almost hitting the clouds, or every misty thing or smoke. Everything is visible there. So that's another thing you can do for signaling. If you are far away and you're pointing at the sky and you start to shake or do some SOS signals, that's a way to draw attention, and they will know, oh, there he is. Even you don't even have to point like with a flashlight. You have to point directly at the person you're trying to get a SOS signal to. But with a laser, you can just point it upwards like a Batman signal actually, and everybody in the general area will know there is somebody with a laser or there is a laser show. But yeah, if you're it's a good way to try to draw attention of rescue groups, perhaps. So that's another thing you can do. All right, it's also good for how do you say this, for communications. If you are with a team that is far away, perhaps a flashlight is not that visible because it's too far away, but this thing will go far away. So even as far as the human eye can go, you can do a certain signal. You can say, uh, we agreed that one tap is go to the rendezvous. Two taps is we meet back each other. Three taps is there is danger in the area. Or you point to your other party that we're going over there now, and you point it over right where you're planning to go. So that's another thing. Especially if you are spread it out very far away, you try to communicate that way, and you say, over there is the rendezvous point, and they can directly see where it is and meet each other there. So that's another thing. Another thing you can do with this is find booby traps, especially if you're in a dark room. Um, and I don't think that you will be able to see it. But if you're going into a dark building, a dark room, and you suspect there is might be booby traps with fishing lines, nylon wire that you almost cannot see. The U.S. Army uses a sort of silly string to spray in at every door or in a hallway to see where it sticks onto. It's light enough to stick onto a nylon wire or some fishing wire, and they will know, oh, there's a booby trap. But with the laser, sometimes with the flashlight, there is too much light or it will not pick up enough. But with the laser, if you go a little bit like the room, you can see, if you perhaps you can see when something hits the laser, you will notice it immediately. So you can detect these kind of wires that are strapped to IEDs or hand grenades. So that's something you can do to make a safe passage inside of a building, especially if you suspect there are booby traps. Another thing you can do is, if you're going to farm, you can scare the birds away with this. Uh, Imagine you're on a field, you have worked on a field, you're growing your crops, but those pesky birds are keep coming back. So even for far away, as long as you have visual, especially during the night when perhaps you can keep some watch, or in the late of the day, you can point your laser at the birds and they will be scared away. It's some tactic that some farmers use, that I know that some farmers use during the day, less effective, but when it's more in the night or late in the day, it's very effective. Or yeah, it's something that you can try out. If you do not have the means for other things, you can use scarecrows for the day, but for the night, when they cannot see the scarecrows, this could be a possible thing. So these are my ideas for how you can utilize a laser pointer for survival uses. So if you got any other uses for this, please let me know. I'm always eager to learn new techniques or learn new tips or hacks. So please let me know. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers.